Video number 1. How I got over rejection from my birth mother. Or what felt like rejection at first. So I was adopted when I was about 3 months old. And I'd always been curious about my biological families. I always wanted to know more information. And I think when I was about 10, 11, maybe 12, I wrote a letter to my adoption agency asking for them to tell me anything about my birth parents. And they sent me some letters back. And it gave me non-identifying information, like she's 5'6", she had brown hair, she likes to sing, he's 5'9", he has medium complexion skin, and like things like that. And I think this is when I first learned more details about why I'd been given away for adoption. First of all, my birth father was married, and he was having an affair with my birth mother. And he was twice her age, and he was black and she's white. And her family was strict Catholic, and she got pregnant out of wedlock. So that was her only choice. She didn't have any other choice. And also in those letters, it said that my birth mother had written me a letter that I could get when I turned 18, and I was so excited. I was like, she wrote me a letter. So I couldn't wait till I turned 18 to get this letter. And the day I turned 18, I drove down to Ohio because I grew up in Michigan. I drove down to Ohio to go get it. I didn't want it coming through the mail or anything. And it was great. I mean, she went into a little bit of detail about why she felt she couldn't raise me, and that she loved me, and she listed her brothers' names, her sisters' names. She put her name. She told me what she would have named me had she kept me, which incidentally is my middle name, and my parents didn't know that. She told me that if I ever wanted to find her, that she would welcome me with open arms, and I was excited. That's what I wanted. I remember growing up watching Oprah and seeing all these adoption reunions shows, and I just imagined myself in that situation one day. So now this was back in '95, long time ago, and this was before Google and before the internet took off. So my parents, they really helped me find her. And my dad got like this disc with like addresses or phone numbers and addresses from the town that she grew up in, because it was a really small town. And then she gave us her brother's name, so we were able to find them. She had gotten remarried by this point, so she had a different last name, which we later found out. And then my mom somehow talked to her, was trying to get information from the high school of that town she grew up in, and she ended up talking to, I guess, my second cousin about. It's just random. It's just like all these things just kind of fell into place, and we found her just after about 3 months, and she called my dad's house. Now I was in college at the time, so she called my house where my dad was, and she talked to him. And they talked probably for hours. My dad could talk anybody's ear off. And we started exchanging letters, like I said, before email, before all that. And she was just kind of hesitant. She told my dad she didn't want to just hurry up and meet. She was a little hesitant because by this time she has 3 younger kids with her new husband. Her new husband knew about me and the situation, but her kids didn't know then, and I still don't think they know. I'm not sure. So we sent letters, about 3 or 4, back and forth over a month or 2, and then probably after about 3 months, maybe 2 or 3 months, she sent my dad a letter saying that she wouldn't be able to go on with this, that she felt like she needed to end it and she needed to close the door and for me not to contact her anymore. And that was devastating. That was a pretty bad moment. It was a real low point for me. Because the first thing I thought was, she still doesn't want me? And I was 18 at this point. I was a grown up. She didn't have to take care of me. She didn't have to buy me anything. She didn't have to, none of that stuff. It was just knowing me. But all I could think was, she still doesn't want me. And it was devastating. And looking back, I should have gotten into therapy immediately. But I didn't. I guess I figured I could just handle it all on my own. So what the first thing I did was just be sad and cry, and I found it hard to believe. I didn't understand. I didn't know why. I couldn't see anybody else's viewpoint. And so I just kind of suffered for years, wondering why she wouldn't want me. Why wouldn't she want to just know me? And so like I said, a lot of that, and for years. Somehow, eventually, I can't remember exactly how, but a book ended up in my apartment. And it was called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This is the little version. And I started reading the book. And, I did eventually start therapy. It was because of another issue, but this constantly came up over and over. So it was kind of indirectly. I started getting therapy on this and talking about it and working through it. And then I also came around the same time I got introduced to this book. And the second agreement in particular, don't take anything personally. When I read that, I had heard this concept before. I'd heard the sentence before. It was not new to me. But I never really got it, and it never clicked until I read this book and the way he presented it. And what I started finally realizing was, even though her decision affected me, it wasn't because of me. Her closing the door did affect me, but it's not because of me. I just want to read a little bit from there. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are completely different. They are in a completely different world from the one you live in. And that's true. So I had to start looking at it from a completely different way. I couldn't keep saying, why doesn't she want me? Because that's very destructive. And it's not necessarily true. It's not that she didn't want me. When I really started analyzing it and really looking at it, she was scared. She was terrified. Her kids didn't know about me. From what she did tell me in some of the letters, her family was, punished her in a lot of ways because of this sin. And I know it was wrong. She shouldn't have been having an affair. I get that. They really, like she told me after I was born, it was a really difficult birth, that she was really sick, and it was kind of touch and go there, and they didn't even come visit her. I think maybe one brother did, but then I think it was years of, and she recovered, and then years of, guilt tripping, I guess, or shaming her, or punishing her because she'd had a baby out of wedlock. And honestly, I'm glad she spared me from that. I wouldn't want to grow up in a family like that. So I thank her for that. They would have had a problem with me being mixed and being a bastard. Then, I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that. And I think that, I know she wanted to know everything. She wanted to know my name. We exchanged pictures. She got to see me. I wanted to see her. I know she wanted to know all that. But it was, I think when it came to, she would have to tell her kids. Maybe her friends now would find out. And she probably just couldn't deal with all that. So, I'm going to have a focus word on a lot of these videos. And so, what I focused on was compassion. Because she was scared to tell people or how to deal with their reactions. And I feel sorry for her about that. You know, as far as I know, her kids still don't know about me, and it's been 22 years since then, and they're grown now. And I mean, I don't know. You know, you tell them now, then it's still like a lie that she's been carrying this whole life, this whole time. Who knows how they would view her, and she's probably scared of that too. So I have immense compassion for her. Um, and then what I really focused on was how lucky I was just to get what I did get. You know, there's so many adopted people who don't know anything, don't have any information to go off on, and may never find them, may never see a picture, may never reunite. And yeah, it didn't turn out the way I wanted. You know, I will never be on Oprah and have my reunion show, but um, at least I know who she is. I've seen pictures of her. She's seen pictures of me. I do have her email now, and over these past 20 some years, I have contacted her twice to ask like some information on medical stuff. And when my child was born, I sent her a picture. But I don't expect anything from her, and I really have just let it go because I guess that's all I was supposed to get. I did have a lot of questions to get answered, but no, we're not going to have a relationship this lifetime. And it's just coming to a point of acceptance for that. In contrast, I found my birth father's family, and it's been a complete opposite. I mean, I went to family reunions. I've been, you know, introduced to the family, and yes, you know, I'm an outside kid from his family, and it has had some strains, but I mean, we have a decent relationship, and we still talk, and I visit him and all that, and so I did get something in that end on that end. But yeah, it is just something about the mother. Something about when our mother, if we feel like our mother doesn't want us. But like I said, I really try not to, I don't frame it in that language anymore. It's not that she didn't want me. It's just she couldn't do it. And honestly, I don't have any ill will towards her. If she changed her mind tomorrow, I would be cool with that. I wouldn't like punish her for the past 20 years. But if she never changes her mind, I'm cool with that too. And I've just gotten to that place where it's okay. It's just okay. Whatever happens, it's okay. And I think I'm stronger for it. And it did teach me how to have compassion for people and to realize when they're just scared. It's not that she wanted to hurt me. She's just scared. So, another thing that actually helped me heal is I have a friend who I went to high school with, and she's adopted too. And we had lost touch when this originally happened, and then we reconnected again years later. And I told her all about it, and then she started looking for her birth mother, and the same thing happened with her. And I was amazed. I didn't know that, honestly, because like I said, I watched Oprah all those years, and it was always like this fairy tale ending. Everybody was happy. That's all I ever saw about adoption reunions. So I thought people, I didn't know that sometimes they say no. It just never entered my mind. I know that might sound weird, but it just never entered my mind that she wouldn't want to have a relationship with me. And then when it happened to my friend, I was like, whoa, okay, so maybe this is a thing that happens, and maybe this has happened to other people out there too. And because I had went through it, I was able to help her in a lot of ways. And then she also knew that she wasn't some anomaly. Like, she knew it happened to me too. So she knew it was a possibility, and then it happened to her also. So I think, if to recap everything, the things that helped me get over it was, number one, do the opposite of what I did. Get into therapy or a support group. And now you can find some on all the chat sites or social media places. You can find, it's easier nowadays. Do therapy or support group. Talk to people, because I sat around for years thinking this only happened to me. And what was wrong with me, because and it was all for naught, because it does happen to other people. Then I recommend the 4 agreements. I think it could transform your life in lots of ways. Focus on compassion, number 3. That's really looking at it through her eyes and seeing it in a different way. Number 4. Oh, I want to say this quote that I came across from Wayne Dyer, who has really helped me. He's my life teacher. He was my life teacher, still is. I still hold him in high regard. And it's changed the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So, yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I had one way I was looking at it first, and I needed to change that. The situation, because here's the thing, I'm healed and I'm okay now, but the situation hasn't changed. Just the way I think about it has. The way I look at it has changed. The situation has stayed completely the same. So I think that's a testament of, it's not about whatever happens. It's about how you can process it and how you think about it and look at it, and what goes on in your mind afterwards in reaction to it. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I thank you for joining me, and hopefully it helps. I don't know how many adopted people this has happened to, but just know you're not alone, and you can get to the other side of it, and you can heal from it, and your life can go on in an even better way. So, what was my little ending quote? My hope for you is to choose happiness, not chase after it.